encourage everybody to become one.
Good plan, good plan. But that's not even why she's here. She's not here as a county commissioner. She's not here as an advocate for any organizations such as Citizens Ambulance Today. She's here as an advocate for women. It is Women's History Month. And we began this little conversation last week talking about notable women in history and women that you consider to be key for us to know about, and not just for young students, young girls to know about. Everybody should be celebrating the roles of women in history.
Yes, I believe that, and I know lots of other folks agree, and I'm so glad to be here, and I'm glad the radio is embracing this celebration of National Women's History Month. There's so many women here locally and on the national scene making contributions, in business and education and in science and military and music and arts. And lots of great contributions, and oftentimes, it's not so much anymore, but oftentimes it's been their stories have been undertold, and we want to work to fix that. And I'm just, happy to be part of that. Women build our country too, and they've had to work twice as hard to get that recognition. So, it's been interesting to read all the contributions from women for our country.
Yeah. So, who do you highlight today?
Well, I like to highlight March was a busy month for women in politics. This marks, just a couple days ago, marks the 100th anniversary of the swearing in of Jeanette Rankin as the first female member of Congress. She was a lifelong pacifist, and she was actually took office during World War I, and so she had an interesting time to be a member of Congress. And many other women born this month who we see on the political scene. Let's see. Gloria Steinem and Susan B. Anthony and Clara Barton and Julia Ward Howe, all folks working on the women's suffrage. Nancy Pelosi was born this month, and our, judges Sandra Day O'Connor and Janet Reno. She was our first woman U.S. Attorney General. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. All these women born this month, so that's exciting to celebrate those birthdays.
Women in government circles.
Yes, and
it took a long time just to allow women to vote, and then to actually women start to make inroads into elected office and appointed office, as some of those women you mentioned were.
Yes, and it did take a long time, and there's still barriers and challenges, and just like we see the barriers for women like we talked about last time, in the science, technology, engineering, and math fields. We're working hard to, break down those beliefs, the stereotypes that those are just fields for men, or you have to be brilliant to be in those fields. We want to teach our young women and all of our children that you can acquire that kind of intellect. It's hard work, but certainly doable.
I think one of the interesting aspects of women in government is that even in today's society, when women find themselves in elected office or in position to make decisions from a judicial bench or from a regulatory panel of some sort, it seems as if society still wants to plug them into traditional, what the society has viewed down through the generations as traditional women's roles. Okay, let's put this woman here in charge of some domestic issue that has to do with household, because she's not suited as well as a guy would be for, say, industrial application or whatever it might be, to try to pigeonhole them into one area and say, you're a woman, so you should know about this.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot, and we're working hard to break down the stereotypes. And, it's a good point, and it also happens in the workplace, and it also happens in how we socialize our young women and our girls to think about their careers. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, we talked about STEM, and of course those are, those are your professional areas, but there's a lot of opportunities for our young women in the career and technical education fields, and those are your non-traditional fields like the trades and construction and automotives, and these are often mid to high skilled wages and work levels. And yet we still see apprenticeship efforts are often hampered by the stereotypes. But those opportunities are out there for our young women.
We had a young lady from ICTC in earlier this month or last month talking about her pursued career. She's
Yeah.
going for welding.
Yeah, that's
And she's
awesome.
really made some wonderful inroads there, and she's got herself a career all lined up.
I bet she does. And, those opportunities, training opportunities, they exist right now, even if you're not in school, for our young women who might be out of school, and even for women who are coming back into the workforce, maybe after raising their family or that sort of thing. There are apprenticeships out there. There are training opportunities through the Workforce Investment Board for CNC programming, for blueprint reading, all sorts of things like that aren't they're affordable. And the Manufacturing Institute tells us that there are literally millions of jobs going to be available, and they are right now. But there's an enormous skills gap. So we want to work hard on that.
One of the interview subjects I'll have coming up here shortly is a woman who has really pushed hard for women in combat roles. She was a helicopter pilot in Afghanistan, flying search and rescue, and her story is amazing. And the way that she has had to battle her way through the military, she's been on NBC talking about it, and it's soon going to be a major motion picture. But
That's exciting.
Women in the military,
Yeah.
that's another expanding field. It seems like, as you said, there is opportunity out there for women in whatever the field might be.
There is.
And that might not have existed even as a few as 10 years ago.
I think that's true. There's lots of opportunities, too, for just leadership positions. And, people say, what can we do? Well, you can mentor, and you can just generally look for opportunities to help women. And we can open up our wallets and fund the things, the trainings and things like that. We can push for those kinds of efforts. Work on political campaigns. There's just any number of leadership opportunities out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we asked earlier if there were going to be any specific events here in Indiana County, and threw that out for folks. And I don't know that we've given them sufficient time to get into the planning stages, but certainly that's something that folks, organizations, schools, whatever, they really need to be doing in order to point out to girls that there are careers as women that might not have been available to them in past years.
Yes, right on. And then there's lots of good information at the National Women's History Month webpage, and just Google STEM for women, and you'll find lots of great things going on there. Our local university, IUP, has great STEM work going on. The schools all have programs. So there's good things going on. Our local American Association for University Women, AAUW, has been working very hard on working to break down these barriers, as we talked about, and they have their annual Notable Women event at the end of this month. It's part of Women's History Month. So March 29th, we're going to be honoring several local women who have been working to break down the barriers.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, she's Indiana County Commissioner Sherene Hess. Now, you're going to come back and visit with us later this month, right?
Yes, I am.
Terrific.
All right.
Terrific. Meanwhile, if you do, as an organization or as an individual, have something that you'd like to get through to Sherene so she can highlight it here on Women's History Month, by all means, do that. And to contact you, what need they to do?
They can call me at my office, 465-3805, or email me at shess@indianacounty.org. And I'm around, so you'll probably see me at some function. Just ask me.
There you go. It's Indiana in the Morning, AM 1160 WCCS, 101.1 FM.